Mangwana ni Malelepo Vukenjani Kekwas Vanave Africa. Welcome to Africa Good Morning, the news and current affairs show bringing you everything you need to know happening on the African continent and beyond. You are joined by Ashwin Mberi, and the date is Thursday, the 6th of February. These are some of the stories we're looking at. Billionaire friend of Nelson Mandela, South African businessman Douw Steyn, dies. Cyber attack exposes business details of Kenya's political elite, Ruto and Kenyatta. Niger announces plan to establish 2 airlines. Follow all our programs on oneup2.com, DSTV 285, Gore TV 285 in Namibia, Network Media Hub on YouTube, and Talent Gore will be joining us to fill us in on the news happening in Zimbabwe. This is Africa Good Morning. Top stories shortly.
NTV Awards 2025. These are your nominees. Show of the Year. Viewer's Choice Presenter of the Year. Lifestyle Show of the Year. Public Affairs Show of the Year. Sport Show of the Year. Sport Presenter of the Year. My Zone Show of the Year. And Chill Personality of the Year. NTV Awards, celebrating creativity, dedication, and impact.
In our top stories, South African billionaire and businessman Douw Steyn, who founded the BGI Insurance Group and was a good friend of late South African statesman Nelson Mandela, has died at age 72. Steyn, known for his global success in the insurance industry, died on Tuesday following a long period of poor health. He was regarded in South Africa as a visionary and an exceptional entrepreneur. Steyn first befriended Mandela shortly after the former president was released from his decades-long imprisonment on Robben Island. Steyn's death was confirmed by Steyn City Properties, the company behind the eponymous luxury golf estate he founded and developed. Now, the sprawling residential lifestyle estate is located in the northern part of Johannesburg and was designed to create a self-sustaining community, according to South African online news website Daily Maverick. The company said Steyn would be remembered as an exceptional entrepreneur who built a global business of immense scale across 7 countries. The Nelson Mandela Foundation described Steyn as a larger-than-life character and someone Madiba regarded as a friend. After his release from prison in 1990, Mandela spent 6 months at Steyn's former home in the affluent Johannesburg suburb Saxonwold, where he edited his autobiography, Long Walk to Freedom. In our next story, in a major breach of security, a cyber attack in Kenya exposed the private business dealings of President William Ruto and former President Uhuru Kenyatta, among other prominent figures, reports First Post Africa. The attack targeted the Business Registration Services, one of Kenya's most data-rich government agencies. The BRS holds sensitive private information on all registered companies, including their owners, beneficial owners, and directors. The exposed data includes company names, directors, shareholders' details, and personal information such as business owners' IDs, phone numbers, and home addresses. The breach revealed the extensive business interests of Kenya's political elite, including those of William Ruto, the president, and former President Uhuru Kenyatta. First Lady Rachel Ruto was prominently mentioned in the leak, with her name tied to various businesses across multiple sectors. Reports suggest that she and her son are connected to several companies. Her daughter was also identified as the owner of one of Kenya's most luxurious Airbnb properties. Very interesting indeed. We'll be looking forward to an update from that, and we'll certainly bring it to you. Now, the Republican bloc of the Defense of the Constitution calls for transparency regarding the management of alleged 30,000 tons of diesel donated by Russia to the Central African Republic. Martin Ziguele, president of the MLPC and spokesperson for the BRDC, questions why this donation is not reflected in the national budget, given that it was made months ago, even before the budget was adopted. He suggests that the fuel may be sold to Cameroon, as SOCAPS cannot store such a large volume. Now, the BRDC insists that the proceeds from the sale of this Russian donation should be included in the state's financial operations table and used to offset cash flow needs. Ziguele emphasizes that the Central African government is forced to incur a high interest debt for its operations. According to the BRDC, the handling of this alleged Russian donation lacks transparency. Ziguele points out that it was only mentioned after President Putin referenced it during President Tawadera's recent visit to Moscow, and he, as member of the Finance Committee, has not received any official information regarding the donation from Russia. Well-informed sources suggest that this alleged Russian donation is part of a more complex strategy. The Central African government is reportedly selling Russian fuel in the CAR at prices significantly higher than the market rate through a Cameroonian shell company. This latest fuel delivery aims to serve two purposes: to power the heavy machinery used in mining operations by Russian operators and to generate revenue through sales. This situation echoes the controversial case of the 50,000 tons of Russian grain, where the tracking of funds was never clarified. Moscow's announcement of a donation seems to be a tactic to smooth over these operations while concealing their commercial and strategic intentions. The government has yet to provide details on the amount and management of this donation, which has been in place since 2024. And the U.S. Postal Service said it would temporarily suspend parcels from China and Hong Kong after President Donald Trump ended a trade provision this week used by retailers, including Temu and Shein, to ship low-value packages duty-free to the U.S. The Trump administration imposed an additional 10% tariff on Chinese goods that came into effect on Tuesday and moved to close the de minimis exemption that allows U.S. shoppers to avoid paying tariffs for shipments below $800. The extra tariff and the elimination of the de minimis follow repeated warnings by Trump that Beijing was not doing enough to halt the flow of fentanyl, a dangerous synthetic opioid, into the U.S. Reuters reported previously that Chinese suppliers used duty-free provision to export chemical materials for fentanyl by disguising them as gadgets and other low-cost goods. This is huge. People waiting for orders from Amazon, Shein, and Temu have no way of knowing when they can receive those orders, said Ram Ben Sion, founder of Ultra Information Solution, the firm which is behind the digital shipment vetting platform Publican. Those have been our top stories on Africa Good Morning, with a touch of what's happening globally, especially because Trump's actions have been far-reaching in Africa and beyond. But for now, we're going to be swinging back to Africa after the break, and we're planning to talk to talent Gore as she highlights Zimbabwe's biggest financial services conglomerate, CBZ Holding Limited, having retrenched 347 workers, and other stories. Stay with us.
Welcome to Namibia, where adventure meets tranquility. With Enjoy, you have access to a wide range of accommodations to suit every traveler's taste and budget. Experience the finest dining and hospitality Namibia has to offer. Booking your dream accommodation is just a few clicks away with Enjoy. Join thousands of happy travelers who have trusted Enjoy for their Namibian getaway. Your gateway to unforgettable Namibian adventures. Visit us today at enjoy.my.na.
It's time to talk to Talent Gore about the latest news stories stemming from Zimbabwe. Talent Wamkase.
Africa.
Good morning. Now, Zimbabwe's biggest financial services conglomerate, CBZ Holdings Limited, has retrenched 347 workers under its restructuring exercise that started last year. Could you please tell us more?
Yes, announcing the development, CBZ Holdings said that this was necessary, the retrenchment was necessary, operational efficiency, strengthen their market position, and ensure long-term sustainability. Apparently, the return of workers under the CBZ stable follows a similar depressing trend in which thousands of employees have found themselves jobless in major supermarket chains and other companies as the country's economic crisis continues to cost jobs and livelihoods. Also, CBZ is not the only company that in the past few months has been retrenching. You also find out that major supermarkets like Choppies, like Food World, like OK Zimbabwe have had to shut down some of their branches, and this means that all of the workers who are working in the supermarkets, who are working in these businesses, they are now redeemed. Right now, they are not employed because most of these companies that they are restructuring, they are actually closing down some of their branches. Take for example, Choppies is actually left. Right now, Choppies has one branch available in Zimbabwe, but they're also working on closing down that branch. They are actually leaving to Botswana and other countries. So you find out that this is not the only, the CBZ is not the only company that is retrenched, but so far it is the only one that we know of how many employees have had to have retrenched 147 employees, and this means people right now they are jobless.
All right, we're having just a little bit of a network issue there with Talent. We're going to take a quick break and we're going to return with her stories.
NTV's second annual awards 2025. This is how you can vote for your favorites. Save Synergy chatbot number +264 85785 6231 and send hashtag NTV Awards 2025 on WhatsApp and follow instructions. These are the categories you can vote for. Viewer's Choice Presenter of the Year: Precious Gitaunapo, Toivo Njebela, Joe Marie Daddy, Aina Kweyo, and Brian Munango. Chill Personality of the Year: Miss Gideon, Jericho, DJ Vuyo, Captain Swazi, and P-Star. Voting closes 8 February 2025.
All right, Talent, let's pick up where we left off. Hard-hitting statements made by war veterans calling on President Emmerson Mnangagwa to step down have exposed the growing resistance in ZANU-PF to a plot by his loyalists to extend by his term in office by 2 years to 2030.
Yes, in the past few weeks, we have seen war veterans in the ZANU-PF party calling for President Emmerson Mnangagwa to step down, saying that he had failed. They are saying that corruption under his rule has become rampant. But apparently, there are loyalists within the ZANU-PF party who are actually saying that President Emmerson Mnangagwa should extend his term in office by 2 years to 2030. So this is not sitting well with the war veterans who are saying that that is against the constitution. If you remember very well, last year, I think I did a story in which President Emmerson Mnangagwa said that he was not going to extend his term in office to 2030, that he was going to abide by the constitution, and the constitution requires that he steps down in 2028 during the general election. Someone else has to come in and for president in 2028. So loyalists within the ZANU-PF party who are loyal to President Emmerson Mnangagwa are saying that he should extend his term in office to 2030. But as of now, the president was on leave and has just returned to work yesterday. He hasn't said anything in regards to this. You find out that ZANU-PF supporters, they are gathering, they are holding rallies, saying that the president should actually extend his term in office by 2 years to 2030, but that is against the constitution. So we're going to see how President Emmerson Mnangagwa is going to respond to what his supporters within the ZANU-PF party are saying in regards to that. But most people, in particular political analysts, are saying that this is the very same thing that happened in 2017 when former president, the late Robert Gabriel Mugabe, was ousted in a coup. They are saying that the very same thing happening right now, in which war veterans are calling for him to step down. It seems like history is repeating itself. The same things that happened in 2017 are the very same things that are happening right now in 2025. So we're just going to be monitoring the situation to see how the president is going to react to all of this, to all of everything that is happening right now.
Yes, I think we'll certainly be keeping an eye on that. Comrade Geza did not look like he would be retracting any of his statements, him amongst the other war veterans. It's going to be very interesting. I did see a speech from Vice President Constantine Chiwenga, but that one also was also open to interpretation. Thank you very much, Talent, for bringing us the news stories as they are from Zimbabwe.
You're welcome, and thank you very much for having me.
It's always good to have you on the show. Something else that's good to have is some good weather, but that's never guaranteed. What we can give you is the information. Here's the weather report.
Welcome to Namibia, where adventure meets tranquility. With Enjoy, you have access to a wide range of accommodations to suit every traveler's taste and budget. Experience the finest dining and hospitality Namibia has to offer. Booking your dream accommodation is just a few clicks away with Enjoy. Join thousands of happy travelers who have trusted Enjoy for their Namibian getaway. Your gateway to unforgettable Namibian adventures. Visit us today at enjoy.my.na.
In economic news, Niger recently announced plans to establish a national airline as well as another that would service members of the Alliance of Sahel States, which includes Niger, Mali, and Burkina Faso. This information was disclosed by Saliso Mahaman Saliso, the country's Minister of Transportation and Equipment. The establishment of an airline of the Alliance of Sahel States is a priority, local media quoted Salison as saying while presenting his report. The minister pointed out that the plan to establish two airlines shortly falls in line with the country's goal to facilitate seamless interactions with its fellow AES countries as well as ease travel within its borders. In terms of air transportation, as I said, the discussions are ongoing and we have come a long way, the minister reportedly stated. The minister also emphasized Niger's efforts to modernize aviation standards to attract domestic and foreign investment in the industry, stressing the availability of skilled workers and modern facilities. We have already instructed National Civil Aviation Authority to relax several regulations to make things easier. As a result, ANAC was able to very quickly put online the conditions for applying for and obtaining overflight and landing permits. In the last of our economic news stories, the government of Botswana and South African diamond firm De Beers say they have reached a new 10-year sales agreement following talks that had dragged on since 2019. Analysts say the diamond industry is sure to welcome the deal, as Botswana, after Russia, is the world's second largest producer of diamonds. Under the terms of the new agreement, Botswana's government will be allowed to sell 30% of rough diamonds mined through a joint mining venture with De Beers. The share rises to 50% by the end of the deal in 2035. Botswana hopes that it will reverse a decline in diamond revenue. The government once received $7 billion a year through De Beers, but the figure declined to $4.2 billion in 2023 amid falling diamond sales worldwide. Let's have a look at the economic indicators just before Ari Hochad brings us the sport.
Good day everyone, time for international sports news, and starting off with cricket news first. It is the SA20 competition in South Africa, and that is drawing to an end. The final is going to be played on Saturday at the Wanderers in Johannesburg, and one of the finalists have been confirmed. There was an eliminator played by the teams that finished first and second after all the round-robin games. It was the MI Cape Town team that played against the Paarl Royals. MI Cape Town booking their place in the final. They beat the Paarl Royals by 39 runs. It was my Cape Town batting first, a good score, 199 for 4 in their allotted 20 overs. A good opening stand by Rassie van der Dussen and Ryan Rickelton of 87 that was laying the foundation. The Paarl Royals all out for 160 runs. The final is on Saturday, and it's yet to be determined who will play against the My Cape Town. First, there's the first eliminator that will be played between the Joburg Super Kings and the Sunrisers Eastern Cape. Sunrisers Eastern Cape, the defending champions in the competition. They won the first 2 editions of the competition. The winner of this game will play against the Paarl Royals. The Paarl Royals get another chance to go into the final because they were one of the first 2 teams after the round-robin games, and they lost to the MI Cape Town, but they've another chance to play the winner of that game. So the final will be played in Johannesburg and will start at 5:30, that is Namibian time. On to soccer news from the English Premier League, and it's still lots of news from Manchester United, and the speculation at the moment is that Manchester United might sell 2 of their young stars, and it's still speculation only. The season needs to be completed first, but it's a speculation from the BBC Sport channel, and they speculate that it's possible that the midfielder, the England midfielder, that is Scobie Mainoo, he's just 19 years old, and also Argentinian winger, that is Alejandro Garnacho, he's 20 years old. Both of them might be sold in the summer, that is the English summer, that will be June, July, after the season closed. That's all still speculation, but it is Manchester United really battling at the moment with the new coach. It is Ruben Amorim not getting the results required. And to close off today's international sports news, it is tennis news from the WTA, the Women's Tour. It's been announced that the former world number 1, Simone Halep, announced her retirement from tennis, international tennis, and she won 2 majors in her career. It was first in 2018, she won the French Open, and also in 2019, it was Simone Halep that won Wimbledon. It was also a challenge the previous 2 years because of injury, but also she was, because of a doping ban by the WTA, she was found guilty of doping. That is Simone Halep. She didn't play much of 2024. She came back now in 2025, but also had lots of injuries, and she said that the body can't take it anymore. So that is Simone Halep of Romania retiring from international tennis. That's international sports news for today. Hope you have a great sport day, and we talk international sport again tomorrow. Goodbye.
Thank you for staying with Africa Good Morning throughout the broadcast. These are some of the highlights from this morning. Visionary South African businessman Douw Steyn dies. Cyber attack exposes business deals of Kenya's political elite, including President William Ruto and former President Uhuru Kenyatta. Niger announces plan to establish 2 airlines. DSTV2 at 5, GoTV 25, 1up2.com, and Network Media Hub on YouTube is precisely where you can find us. From me, Ashwin Berry, and the Africa Good Morning team, Suraj Kanaka.